Just say run, and I will follow you anywhere. And you have my heart, even when I am not there. Just say run. Just say run, and I will follow you anywhere. And you have my heart, even when I am not there. Just say run. Just say run, and I will follow you anywhere. And you have my heart, even when I am not there. Just say run. Just say run, and I will follow you anywhere. And you have my heart, even when I am not there. Just say run. Just say run, and I will follow you anywhere. And you have my heart, even when I am not there. Just say run. Just say run, and I will follow you anywhere. And you have my heart, even when I am not there. Just say run. Just say run. Just say run. Just say run, and I will follow you anywhere. And you have my heart, even when I am not there. Just say run. Just say run. Just say run. Just say run, and I will follow you anywhere. And you have my heart, even when I am not there.
Welcome back to the W1 Sim Series.
What is going to be a cutthroat championship clash.
20 cars line up under the lights. 4 and 5 red lights.
We welcome you to W1. Wheel to wheel, heading through lane car. They're going to go side by side, coming in towards Baggins and Beckett. Who's bravest? Fantastic move from Cheryl Bucknell. But it's not over yet. The house comes back at her. he leads, he crashes, he's round.
What a hard-fought victory that was. That is just spectacular.
For your drivers, champion, W1 Sim Series. What a season they have had.
Well, a very good morning, good evening, or good afternoon to wherever you may be in the world, and welcome back to the W1 Sim Series. And after 3 rounds of our 10-race calendar, we head into the middle section, the double-double, as it's been dubbed. 2 Spanish tracks and 2 trips to the continental United States. It is all going to be to play for. Break week last week means our drivers are rested and recuperated, bar one who threw herself out of a plane, and we head to the Spanish capital of Barcelona for today's particular outings. My name's Tom Knight, an absolute pleasure to be back on your screens here today, and alongside me, the man that gives us all of the puns, it is the wonderful Carl Peranic. Carl, it's good to be back.
Oh, it's so good to be back. Nothing like a delightful double-decker as well. But, honest, we were talking pre-broadcast about, like, leagues gone by and leagues that we're currently a part of, and, like, this is the big league that we have a week off and we genuinely miss it. Yeah. Like last Thursday, I didn't know what to do with myself. So the fact now we're off to Barcelona, we're off to a thoroughbred in the league racing space, it's going to be an awesome evening of entertainment. It
is, and you're right in saying there's not many shows that I miss on a weekly basis and go, kind of gutted that we're not doing a break week. And I appreciate there's a lot of commitment that requires these drivers to have these break weeks where you want to make sure they are well rested as best they can be so they can come and perform to the best of their abilities. But it is a very strange feeling knowing that you don't have anything to do on a Thursday night and you don't get to watch some of the best driving around here. And also, I think we should give a very special shout out to the guys over at Ferrari Esports who are doing a watch along with us here over on Twitch. It's fantastic to have you. Thank you for coming to stop by, and hopefully you get to experience the fantastic racing and see maybe your own home hero, Emma Clay, take the win tonight. But Carl, before we get into qualifying, drivers are just making their way out because it is a little bit overcast in Barcelona. Should we firstly go and have a look at our calendar?
Indeed we shall. So we've already had the first 3 rounds. Silverstone, Canada, Imola, smited from the list. And now it's time for that double-decker. Barcelona is where we head to today. Sunny Spain, probably. Followed by the Madrid, a first foray onto that rather cutthroat street circuit. And then we have a double dose of the USA. Texas, followed by Las Vegas. And then another break, because a double-decker might just be a bit too much.
Certainly so. And after that final break week, we head for a triple header of Zandvoort, Mexico and Saudi Arabia, where our drivers' skills will be tested to the upmark degree. And just very quickly as well, we are underway in qualifying. They got ready very quickly, probably quicker than we were anticipating. And hopefully we can go and have a look at how our lineups are for the drivers. Here we go, you can see them on your screen. So no Miss Nutrix this week, so it's Willow Keeble that steps into the Scuderia Ferrari team alongside Emma Clay. It's Alexis Mason and Charlotte Perkins who's reserved for, I believe, every round for Mercedes so far this season, stepping in to what is essentially becoming a home seat for them. The Audi lineup unchanged with both Big Money Regan and Jazz Luna, with Hevar and Lauren Nodding stepping in for the Williams outfit. It's Alicia Hofflack, who of course has that 3-place grid penalty to serve today, alongside the reserve Nicole Machuca making her first appearance in the series, with Vanessa Hostella and Lily Browning repping it out for Team Haas.
I was expecting Hevar to span the whole width of the screen, but maybe that's another day. We have McLaren with reigning champion Lee Woodward and Vanessa Schaff reserving alongside. We've got Jessica Bull and Lainey Milligan, the dynamic duo of the Red Bull, in together, alongside Catherine Ormerod and Carlotta Marchi in the Faenza outfit. Esme Chambers and Katie Grafton in the lean green machine of Aston Martin, with Zara Shahsavari and championship chaser Catherine Thielking in the Cadillac.
Well, we won't beat around the bush much longer. Race 4 and qualifying 4 is underway here in the circuit to Barcelona, Catalonia. Drivers already out on their preparatory laps. And Alicia Hofflack, the first of those drivers who's making their way through. Vanessa Schaff, it is worth mentioning, picked up an injury in the first couple of rounds. I believe a dislocated thumb from a wheel snapback. But they've come back today, Carl. They've already gone purple in the first sector here.
Yes, doing a great job indeed, but they are cooped up behind another car. They're not going to be best pleased with that particular Cadillac, still pushing on through Campsa Corner, waiting for Alicia Hofflack to set the benchmark, but the McLaren Maestro definitely on a charge early doors. Not purple in the second sector. A 16.8 is the benchmark. Katie Grafton quickly smites that into the low 16s, and that will tumble down very quickly indeed, because now it's a 14.3 from Regan Boylan. Cash money, fastest lap. Here comes the Mercedes of Alexis Mason to dip us into the 1 minute 13s, but only just. Expect a mid to low 1 minute 13. That's the benchmark we're going to see, and it really comes down to battery management as Emma Clay, no stranger to pole position, close to the 13s. Catherine Thielking has absolutely annihilated it though. 13.6. That is a brilliant benchmark.
Absolutely stunning from Team Cadillac. It was purple in the first sector from Esme Chambers as we were watching on board with her. I think she just had a bit of a moment through the second, causing her to back off. It's a 31.238 in that respective sector, so that is why we saw the Aston Martin just back off and consider going again. But Catherine Thielking in the moment absolutely flying up at the top of your timing tower. We have got Willow Keeble stepping in as a reserve for the Ferrari team here this afternoon. They've set purple personal best, should I say, in the opening sector. And why don't we ride on board with a qualifying lap? And we can see, look at this, it's the mini sectors, everybody.
Brief mini purple, look at this. Willow Keeble absolutely flying. Williams gets dutifully out of the way. And then a little bit tentative into Campsa corner, but that is all important to save the battery for this final section. If anything, maybe a little bit too conservative on the deployment. You're going to want to burn a lot of it out of these final three as the rear end complaining for grip. Out of turn number 10, just about keeps it under control. Now she can obliterate the battery all the way through these final couple of corners. Be careful of the understeer through the final corner. Has to gather it up, lift off the throttle. That's a compromise she carries all the way to the line. But it is still in the top 10, early doors. It's a decent little benchmark. Plenty to learn from that first outing.
A Woodward Season 1 champion, purple in the first, goes third fastest, a 13.916, sees Woodward and Team Papaya put themselves within the top three. I have noticed Miss Nutrix in chat. First of all, welcome in, hello. Hope your holiday's going well and hope you're enjoying wherever you're watching in the world. I don't quite know what you've abandoned us on holiday for, but I think we'll allow it this time around. But it is lovely to see you as always. We've got more drivers out on laps as well. Lauren Nodding, one of those down in 22nd at the moment. That's LJ Ripley, making her way through the opening few corners and out of the first sector. We'll get a benchmark rough time of 22.661. Needs to find about 7/10 or so if she wishes to go competitive in that first sector. It may have been purple according to the game, but not necessarily according to our timing and our telemetry.
Getting some love in the chat for the graphics. Yes, we know. Elevation to excellent levels, including the halo graphic now in the mini sectors, as Lauren Nodding very much posing the car left and right throughout that chicane through Campsa corner, no doubt keeping it pinned flat to the floor on the throttle. As well, I hope your rest and recuperation is going extremely well, Sonna. Also equally thinking, Willow, for the love of God, please take care of my car. They're currently in P11, not bad going at the moment, but holding it narrow through the sweeping right-hander, and now you keep your foot as flat as you possibly can. Maybe a slight lift to rotate the car into the final corner. You saw it with Willow Keeble. The understeer is crippling at the best of times. However, Lauren Nodding across the line, 18th place, 16.5, and a stone's throw away of picking up quite a few places.
I want to keep an eye on Vanessa Scharf as well, see what they're capable of. They had competitive pace in the first runs. They did back out. They didn't set a run time in the end. We'll see what they're able to do through the first sector, 21.9. So looking rather competitive in this opening first sector. We'll ride on board and see what they're able to try and, well, come up with as they make their way through the second sector. I think the mini sectors might require other people to set them whilst the graphics live. So we'll have some bugging as we go around the course. This is the first time we are using this, so of course, you know, knowing it's something that we've made, it probably has a couple of bugs. But charging the battery in towards the long left-hander, going incredibly deep there. They have got a car in front of them. I believe that to be one of the Williams cars. It is indeed. Trying to figure out exactly who that is. That might be Lauren Nodding, just making their way back to pit road. But nonetheless, the McLaren reservist does step in and they're going to be chased down. Will be chasing down the Williams through the final corner, who dutifully moves out of the way. Although they are completely out of battery, albeit with the straight line mode. And does come across the line. They go sixth fastest.
Possible weave of frustration from Vanessa Scharf as well, been held up, theoretically, twice in the space of 2 flying laps, but 6th place, nothing to turn your snout up at. Regan Boylan, big money Regs is still P5, ladies and gentlemen. Do not adjust your screens, it is really happening. Can Charlotte Perkins knock anyone off the perch in the Mercedes car? Practically the full-time driver for the Silver Arrows, and yes, up to the top 5 goes Charlotte Perkins, 0.4 of a second found in that one lap. The track getting better all the time, but also battery management is going to be vital. Has Alexis Mason understood the assignment? Big question, big answer to follow through. As through penultimate corner, and then round the final sweeping right-hander goes the Mercedes. battery to burn, and across the line in a 1:13.684. 5 thousandths off. Emma Clay drastically improving as well. 4 tenths so far. It's going to be even more. In fact, it's pole 13.3. That's one hell of an improvement from Emma Clay.
Absolutely stunning. Purple in the both first and second for Emma Clay. Personal best in the third, which was enough to secure her provisional pole position for the time being, putting just over 3.7 tenths between herself and Catherine Thielking in the moment as they continue to move their way forward. Speaking of Catherine Thielking, has improved herself in the first sector, improving by just over 1.7 tenths. So this could be an answer to the question posed by Emma Clay as they round on to the second straight line mode here in Barcelona under the viewing tower, the bridge that goes across this circuit, improving by 4 tenths of a second. This is looking incredible for Thielking.
Track amazingly amethyst for the Cadillac driver. She looks to light the timing sheets ablaze once again. It was a scorcher of a first lap. It's about to completely tear the house down on the second lap. Confidence through the final corner, almost unmatched. Could lose it on the battery. Yes, she does lose it on the battery by 1,000th of a second. That is all the margin between part of the championship chase. Lee Woodward is on a flying lap right now, going to try and improve themselves towards the top of the tree. But wow, 1,000th in it, a quarter of a second that Lee Woodward's found. It's going to have to be a lot more to challenge for pole here.
Never say never, especially in qualifying here in the 2026 regulations. They'll come through what traditionally was that final chicane. But after the reprofiling here at Circuit Barcelona Catalunya, it will be just a straight run to the line for Lee Woodward. Up towards, and they'll get a bit of a tow from the Ferrari they're chasing. They go third fastest, 175 thousandths of a second behind Emma Clay, 174 thousandths of a second behind Catherine Thielking. If you can do the maths that quickly, and somehow I've managed to pull that one off here tonight. Catherine Omerod on a slow run by the looks of things, just completed their run that put them 5th fastest, with Willow Keeble, of course, in the other Ferrari at the moment, going 8 tenths of a second quicker over the course of her last lap, which made her go up to 9th place, in towards the top 10, which is a good result for her so far. Looks like Jess Ball might be having some technical issues as they come around the final corner, rubber banding to start probably their next lap of the afternoon.
Yes, looks like just a preparation lap and then get out there, get your name up in lights. 14.9, plenty of time to find us. There's a Mercedes overtaking at the pit lane exit. Very interesting. Quarter of a second found from Def Not Jazz so far. Definitely is, as they hold it narrow through the right-hander, just keeping the car within the confines and also keeping it compliant. Very easy to let it understeer wide through the final corner. Plenty of battery towards the line, but then it is red in validation and it loses a lap that would have been 7 tenths of a second faster. A lap that would have slotted them pretty into P13, goes down the wayside. I will also say, impressed with Lee Woodward's pace, mostly because car looked like an absolute nightmare through the last sector. Rear twitching and twisting and turning all the way through. Still found a couple of tenths. So now, at the moment, it really does become a 3-horse race for pole position. Incredible stuff.
Don't count out Alexis Mason as well. Has looked very strong in qualifying. Remember at Imola a couple of weeks ago, did set the fastest lap time just before both Esme Chambers and Emma Clay went through to go faster in an ever-changing circuit that started off wet and just continued to get drier and faster as the laps continued to run their way forward. You've got the likes of Stark Loki, that's Vanessa Hostetler, making their way through in towards the second sector. They're not improving in the first, but of course, as we know here in the 2026 regulations, it is more often than not about having that consistent lap time than just having one blindingly fast sector, because of how quickly you can recharge the battery, because of straight line mode that gives you the ability to open it at any point, more notably when we get to race pace. And it's good to know that Esme Chambers, who did previously disconnect, has managed to get themselves back into the session within a couple of seconds. So both Haas teammates pass by one another. Hostetler continues on as Lily Browning in 15th place, just 1 place below, is on their outlap, getting themselves prepped and ready.
See Emma Clay, I think what looks to be on another flying lap. We'll see exactly what her progress is. 42 thousandths down in the first sector. Tiny little bit of boost up towards this next chicane. Let the car just bounce over the curbs. Big spin. Massive damage for Emma Clay, who just pushed the limits on the curbs a bit too much. Luckily, she's got plenty of time to make her way back to the pit lane. Not what you need, though, when the margins are that close in qualifying. Literal milliseconds separating P1 from P2, as up to P4 went Charlotte Perkins. So someone finding plenty of time. Confidence, a big thing though. Here at the Spanish Grand Prix, as Reeds has to take avoiding action. A Mercedes lackadaisical in the middle of the circuit. Not entirely sure who Alexis Mason that is, looking to challenge for pole position on their own regard. But that is not what Reeds needed in what looked to be a lap to send them potentially skybound for the top 6.
Bit of a frustration as well in the wheel. You can see it there as they make their way back in towards pit road. Heather hoping that the weather stays good here at the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya. And up towards the line, they will go 11th fastest for Heather at the moment. So 1 place increase, making a personal best for them this afternoon in towards the first corner. We have got just over, dead on, 4 minutes left in our qualifying session here this afternoon for round 4 of the W1 Sim Series. And what we want to know, and we want to hear from everybody in the chat, whether you're watching along on Twitch, whether you're watching along on YouTube, who do you think is going to get provisional, or who's going to get pole position? I'll try that again. Pole position here at Barcelona, as words have already started to Carl. It's never a good sign.
It never is, honestly, as we have a little replay of Emma Clay's little escapade, shall we call it, a Spanish siesta through this particular chicane. Gets it caught up, in fact, gets on the boost maybe a bit too early, trying to use all the track they could, and Audi not disturbed by that particular excursion. However, that could well dictate the confidence war for qualifying. It's tricky, but if it just dents at your confidence enough, I think Thielking could have this sign sealed and delivered. Emma Clay, if there's one thing she's proved this season, though, she can rid herself of any doubt very, very quickly. Her pace is phenomenal in these regulations. Everyone bailing into the pit lane to get a new set of tyres on to wait for the track to be at its absolute best. While I'm here also, can I just say, impressive displays from the likes of Regan Boylan in P8, Heather in P11, excellent work. That all comes down to the fact, even though there's been a week break, there's all that camaraderie. Everyone still got together, did a practice race around the Barcelona circuit. Just, you know, get a little bit of intel of how the track was going to feel, what gremlins they might face, what strategy they could deploy, and it's paying off handsomely so far.
It absolutely is, and that's something I think we encourage. We love to see the drivers do that, because we didn't organise that. They organised that completely by themselves. I can't remember who exactly it was. If it was you, speak up. My apologies. But it's fantastic to see the friendship, the camaraderie, like you said, between the drivers, supporting them and each of them wanting each other to do better as the series goes. And that was the Haas car avoiding, I think, a curiously placed Alpine at the exit of the first corner. Oh, who has missed the pit exit. Alicia has retired there. Not exactly what has happened. Who did go past? That was one of the Ferraris. Was it a Ferrari or was it one of the Audi? Was it Regan?
One of the Audis. Not sure who it is. No, it would be definitely not Jazz, who's clattered into the Alpine. Hopefully somehow does not have damage. Miracles have been performed. 0 damage whatsoever. If anything, just a moment to just breathe, basically. But goodness gracious me, that was almost a plane crash. Speaking of aviation, Catherine Thielking looking to soar onto the top of the leaderboard as she heads through turn 1 and 2 on board with the Cadillac. Watch those sector times. Is it going to be astonishingly amethyst? Will this be the pole position time for round number 4? Underneath the gantry, 50-meter board, a slight lift. You can see it on the battery on the left-hand side of the halo. It is all purple according to our telemetry, and it's going to continue as she flicks the wheel in. A little bit conservative on the flickage. You could definitely wrestle the car a bit more. However, it is all in preparation for saving the battery after this. Using the tiny sausage curbs on the outside. Try and keep it pinned flat out through Campsa corner. Car on the outside just about keeps out of the way. Use all the battery you need. It's a lift and coast. Green concrete on the right. Get the car pinched in. So easy to wash out with understeer. And then you've got the narrow hold through this corner here. The sweeping right to minimise the distance. Now it's a tiny switch on of the boost. She's got a car ahead, giving her a distant tow through the final corner. Switches down a gear. Keep the car in the rev range. Out of battery, out of juice. Not provisional pole. Down by half a tenth of a second. And that could dictate pole position for good.
It absolutely could. Emma Clay has got a sigh of relief. 13 seconds left on our timekeeper's clock, knowing that as much as she doesn't need to go faster, she's going to absolutely have to put hammer to the floor, as the likes of Woodward, Perkins, Mason, maybe even Schaaf as well, will be trying to chase her down to reclaim that pole position spot. But the checkered flag flies upon qualifying, so it means no drivers can start another lap. We've got to now play the guessing game of who's going to be next across the line. Vanessa Hostetler will be the first. Can't go faster. 12th fastest for themselves. It will be the Aston Martin of Esme Chambers across the line. They go 8th fastest. Regan Boylan stays 9th fastest. Behind her, we'll keep an eye on everybody as they come across the line. Perkins couldn't go faster. Mason is going faster. And this is one we've got to keep an eye on, everybody, as they round in towards what will be the final duplex of corners. Can the Mercedes-AMG Petronas outfit put themselves up into the top spot? 5th place at the moment. They need just about 0.4 of a second up towards the line for Alexis Mason. 4th fastest they will go. Lee Woodward will follow by Vanessa Schaaf. They cross the line, stays 5th fastest. So Emma Clay, unless Willow Keeble's got something in her locker, which he doesn't on this occasion, it will be a back-to-back pole position for Emma Clay.
By 1,000th of a second. Margins do not get, well, they do get closer than that, but hardly ever have they come that close in this W1 Sim Series. My goodness me, a smattering of fastest sectors between Perkins, Steel King, and pole sitter Emma Clay. For the championship leader, though, the 2 weeks break, there's only one thing that they could visualise, and that was the top of the tree. The perfect way to restart. But 3/10 between the top 6, that's only qualifying as well. Come race time, that's going to be a tantalising prospect.
It is all to play for as we get going in the race. We wait for drivers and engineers to get their cars back into the respective pits. It is just waiting on Zara Shahsavari, a Cadillac outfit, down in 21st place, who, albeit, is down in 21st. It's only 2/10 off Nicole Machuca. The entire field spread by less than 3 seconds if you exclude Alicia Hofflack, who didn't get the opportunity to go for that final run. We have heard from Catherine Omerod saying she was on for a PB, but wouldn't have changed her position anyway, which actually just shows how quick this field is starting to go. But it will be Emma Clay that starts from pole position here this afternoon at the Circuit of Barcelona, Catalonia, for round 4 of the W1 Sim Series. And your complete grid order we will run you through right now. Emma Clay from Catherine Thiel-King from Lee Woodward as your front 3. It's then Alexis Mason, Charlotte Perkins, Vanessa Schaaf, Catherine Omerod, Esme Chambers, Regan Boylan, and Willow Keeble as your top 10. It's then Heather, Vanessa Hostetler, Jess Ball, Carlotta Markey, Lily Browning, Jazz Luna, Lauren Nodding, Katie Grafton, Lainey Milligan, Nicole Machuca, Zara Shahsavari, and Alicia Hofflack, your 22 drivers that will be going racing in Barcelona in the next few minutes' time, Carl. And what a qualifying that has just been.
Did you miss us, ladies and gentlemen? You ain't missing us anymore. 1,000th was all that sealed it between two of the big protagonists so far in this championship battle, albeit still very early days. We've got a long way to go. But my goodness me, that is a statement. I mean, Thiel-King, I think, probably had a bit of a devil on her shoulder after Imola, let's be honest. It wasn't her greatest race weekend, didn't get the qualifying right, got caught up in skirmishes early on. Great recovery, but she knows where she can be. She knows exactly what pace she can put down on the table, and that's proof in the pudding there. A whisker away from pole position, but, I mean, Emma Clay, wow, 3 pole positions in 4 races. That is quite something.
It's looked incredible, and as we head into the latter half of the season, we appreciate we get to round 5, which is going to be Madrid, and then we head to the second half of the calendar where it is still to play for. There's a lot of technical circuits in there, the likes of Madrid. We've got Saudi Arabia in there. Mexico is going to provide a really unique challenge in terms of battery management. So I think we've got a very exciting calendar on our hands. And speaking of that, if you have just tuned in, we'll go and have a quick look at that before drivers get their lobby reset and they have their little brief moment to just get themselves prepared and ready. And as you mentioned earlier, Carl, we've visited historic sites such as Great Britain, Canada and Imola before heading to today's venue of the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia for the first time in the W1 Sim Series, and equally it's a first as well next week as we head to the Madrid for the first time as well. It's then the Circuit of the Americas, followed by Las Vegas, making it a double-double that we have in this mid-season pack, for finishing off at Circuit Zandvoort, Mexico City, and of course Saudi Arabia, where we will have our Season 2 champion decided in what could be, quite possibly, one of the most thrilling races on the calendar.
Couldn't agree more with you. And also, like you say, the level of variety. In terms of the challenge as well, there's no 2 tracks that are next to each other. that particularly have that same challenge about them in terms of the dynamic of saving the battery, the tyres. It all varies as you go track per track, which is great to see. As well, Miss Nutrix makes a very good point. Madring is going to be the graveyard shift. I agree with you. It's going to be chaos. In Commentary Corner, we're going to love it, most definitely. But first of all, we'll ignore the Madring. We've got Barcelona to deal with today, and if we have a track layout, let's have a look, shall we? Because Barcelona is a fun place, ladies and gentlemen. Conventional in terms of the league racing space. 14 corners, clockwise circuit. Main thing, well, it's two main things, but the big one, compared to a lot of circuits we've been to, is tyre management. A one-stop is doable, but the front left tyre goes through a lot of pain. People over-push it. They're going to really struggle to make ends meet as they get towards the end of the race today.
It's going to be a really interesting one to watch because I think we're going to be on that ballpark of where 1 and 2 stop strategies are both going to be possible, both realistically are plausible as well as we head into race day. So keep an eye out for drivers that might be trying to go for that 2-stop. Keep an eye for drivers that are going to try and preserve their tyres and manage just the 1-stop, because as you know, you probably spot it before we do up here in Commentary Corner because there's a million and one things going on, and it's fantastic when you guys do point it all out and let us know what is going on. It is warm though, I must admit, again in the UK, and I'm going to bounce on about this for the next probably 3 or 4 weeks until we get snow inevitably. But I think the drivers are also feeling the heat as well. There's a couple of them that are just saying, not feeling the best, need to get some water before we get racing, and that's absolutely understandable. It is warm, especially when you've got computers, lights, your sim rigs on. They all generate a lot of heat in probably some very small rooms, and it can get somewhat claustrophobic as well. But as we head into Barcelona, Carl, let's talk about some of the key overtaking opportunities, because there is quite a few of them, most notably at the end of the straight line modes.
Yes, I could completely agree with that one. The straight line modes are the obvious overtaking spots, I would say. The main thing is drivers are going to want to save for that start-finish straight. You'll be easily mugged if you don't save enough. But there are a couple of other places to pick the pocket, not just after Campsa and the start-finish straight. You've got, for instance, turn number 3. If people hold it narrow and catch people out on the battery management, there is a chance to pick a place there, but you've got to be confident in the electrical energy you have. Same thing for after the hairpin. After turn number 5, you have the left-hand kink through turn 6. The closing speed through there is cutthroat. It's actually quite scary if you get it wrong. So awareness is going to have to be big, especially when you're managing those overtakes, particularly in the unorthodox zones. When you go through turn 6, you use that boost. Closing speed it's anarchy. So just be aware. Play it more patient than you think, but if you think you've got the pace and you think you know you're going to telegraph it early, go for it. You might as well. It's an easy place to pick the pocket if you know how.
Absolutely, and as we head into the race, I mean, Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya is a great circuit, not only for Formula 1 racing, it's great for GT racing, prototype racing. We see it among the different sims, and we can say that because we're not sponsored by one of them, so we can encourage you to go and enjoy it on different racing and different sims as well. I saw Dan Gilligan in chat. I don't know if they've got it in Automobilista too. If they don't, then I won't mention it anymore. But it's one of those circuits that is a classic in Formula 1 and has developed over the course of many years and many races. I've been told they do, so enjoy it on Automobilista too, because it is a great sim. We haven't been paid to say that, it is just a great sim. But as we head into the race, there's lots to look forward to here.
Got an invoice of 50 quid now, that's excellent. No, it's gonna be a really fun race, I think. I'd probably err on the side of caution, maybe in terms of the first stint, in terms of it will be very close, but it will be a war on tyre management for a lot of people. So if it looks quite close, you probably understand what's going on. What will be interesting is when we get to that pit stop phase, unless there's a safety car, but if there isn't that safety car period, which is entirely possible, open track, more so like Silverstone, didn't have a safety car there, you then get people trying to extend that stint, because then you know you can push the hard tyres all the way through. They still take a bit of a battering. You do manage to get those medium tyres later on into the race. Say, box at the end of lap 15, you can push all the way to the end 100% on those hard tyres. Miss Nutrix has coined it, expected strats. That's one of them. The other one is, of course, you pit early. Undercuts are very powerful, but with tyre management here, it can be a tall order.
Absolutely, and there's going to be a whole host of strategies, races, tyres, probably all 3 compounds on display over the course of the race today. And if you're watching along in Twitch, watching along on YouTube, whether you're watching along with Ferrari, hi Ferrari again, good to have you with us. Let us know in the respective chats who you think might be able to go on and take victory today? Will Emma Clay be able to go from lights to flag, or someone else be able to sneak through and take on, maybe with some differing strategies? Carl, we've spoken a lot about people we like seeing in the chat. Not that we don't like seeing people in the chat. Let me clarify. That sounded awful, didn't it? We like everyone in the chat, who we haven't seen for a while. The snail next door, we haven't seen them since season 1.
Oh my god,
or at least since the social races.
No, we haven't.
Has anyone checked on them?
They must be brewing up some absolute belter of a message. That's all I'm going to say. Snail next door, wherever you are, the animal kingdom amongst us in W1 misses you. Penguin Victoria is running out of animal friends. We had a ferret the other day. We need the snail next door back. Please, come back. Come and join us.
They've written an entire paragraph of who they actually think is going to win the Drivers' Championship, and it's taking that long to send it that we'll get it at the end of round 10.
At the last race.
Absolutely, and then we can go, oh, they called it right from the very start, and we'll call them magical and mythical, because they are the magical and mythical snail of W1. It has appeared to be that way anyway. They're lovely when they come into the chat and say hello. As Torn said in the chat, yeah, 1 and 2 stops are possible here in Barcelona. I think we are just waiting for a few drivers to get themselves ready. Unfortunately, Jess Ball has had to drop out. Internet connection has said no. We saw the effects of that in qualifying. I think she's made possibly the right decision, not wanting to affect other drivers' races, so won't be taking part. Lily Browning's got a wet towel for their neck to try and make them feel a little bit better. So, Lily, please prioritise health. That is absolutely the first thing that comes first. And if you need to bow out, there is no bad mark against yourself, because we want, at the end of the day, everybody to make sure they feel alive and good. Dan Gilligan asked you a question, Carl. What animal would be the best racing driver?
Oh, now there's this you don't get this content on Sky Sports, ladies and gentlemen. Best animal as a racing driver. Wow. I had one that instantly came to mind, hammerhead shark, purely because wide field of vision. They got the visual coverage. That's what I'm thinking. We got some suggestions raining in as well. That's excellent. Miss Nutrix says a cheetah. You're not wrong. A cheetah would be very good outside of the car as well, admittedly. Let's think inside the car as well. Killer whale. Interesting. Okay. Might not have the racing standards that we might expect, but okay. Fair enough. Hammerhead on the Top Gear track. Goated reference. Well done, Alexis. A monkey, a primate, says Rice. See, that could be interesting. Yeah, you know. Close relations, who knows? It could be interesting. I'm going to stick with my bet. Hammerhead shark. Predatorial instinct. Wide field of vision. I think that's got the coverage.
I think that's a very fair shout. Someone said TK would be good, and then Scotty said he wouldn't fit in the Halo. Or unless he was talking about the hammerhead shark wouldn't fit in the Halo. It would. It's just wide at the front. So it actually, if anything, wouldn't see the Halo.
The side of the Halo.
Absolutely. Lauda said saying a monkey can drive a car. That's very true. If it was downhill bobsleigh, then an elephant would be fantastic. I'd personally say a rhinoceros, because the centre of mass would be a little bit more targeted than an elephant. Mario Kart has shown me a lot of animals can be raced. Fantastic. That is a very fair point. Mario Kart has taught us that animals race rather well, especially when they're chasing down an Italian plumber over the course of their court. Scotty says dolphin is the obvious choice here. What, for downhill bobsleigh or for racing? Because downhill bobsleigh with a dolphin, the aerodynamics of that would work rather well.
If anything, you don't need a straight line mode with the dolphin. It would just be there and gone.
Yeah.
That's a good reference there. And Dan Gilligan says, though I suppose a prancing horse would be pretty good. Ciao Ferrari. Hello. Welcome. We'd like the horse. Welcome to the pit lane. It's overcast in Spain. Could be interesting.
It could be. It's certainly looking a little bit cloudy. It was cloudy in qualifying. We'll preface that, but it didn't rain in the slightest. We'll wait and see when we get the update on the weather to see how they make their way through. Yeah, lots to look forward to. I mean, if you're going in animal, Turbo the Snail is the obvious choice. If you know, you know. He is the fastest animal alive, faster than most cars in that fictional universe. So if you're wondering what's happening now, drivers have got 2 minutes to get their setups and their strategies applied and ready. It gives everybody that exact same time without the worry of drivers readying up just a little bit earlier on than others, which is a very nice thing, especially when you're under pressure, or maybe tweaks the setup during qualifying. It gives you that couple of moments just to make sure that you have got it done. Lily Browning is going to see how I feel with the first stint. As we said earlier, please look after yourself. If you have to pull into the pits and retire, it will not be a black mark against your name. It will be, if anything, a good thing that you have taken that decisive action to make sure that you are feeling okay. On the subject of snails, oh gosh, here we go. Would you take $1 million if in return there was an invisible snail that was sent to hunt you down, always knows where you are, and if it touches you, then you die? Yes. because why not?
Fair play. Fair play. I respect that. I respect that decision. Gonna say, yeah, Lily, please take care of yourself, honestly. There's no stain on your character at all if you do bail out because you are not feeling well. Health is your priority. Everyone stay hydrated. Everybody stay cool out there in what is going to be a scorching set of affairs at the Spanish Grand Prix. The run down to turn 1 could be interesting. We come to that time, of course, where we give our hedge of bets as to who's going to win the race. I'm going to say, and it's not because Ferrari are watching this, just to be quite clear, I think Emma Clay is going to win. I'm just going to put it out there. I think her race management at the British Grand Prix said all I needed to know. If it wasn't for that disconnect, I think she would have monstered it. So, Barcelona, Emma Clay, yours for the taking.
Absolutely right then. Drivers have been given the notification that they can ready up and get themselves prepared. We've got 21 cars on the W1 Sim Series grid here for round 4 of Season 2. As we get ready to go racing at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, it will be Emma Clay that starts from pole position for the second week in a row. And the long run down towards turn 1 will be all important. And here we go then. Red lights starting to form. 5 red lights for Barcelona Grand Prix. The lights go out and we go racing. And down towards turn 1, Emma Clay already having a good pull away from the line. But Catherine Thielking alongside, trying to make moves. Lee Woodward on the outside, trying to find any advantage they can to get through. Lock up from Catherine Thielking, but does manage to stay ahead of Lee Woodward into the opening few corners. There's moves made further back. Lily Browning's past Regan Boylan. Laney Milligan's past Jazz Luna as Alicia Hofflack falls down the order to 21st. Yellow flags with Laney Milligan now getting past Vanessa Hostella, with Heather as well trying to battle it out as they round the long right-hander of turn 3 and into turn 4 off the circuit goes Katie Grafton, and the Aston Martin will fall down into 20th place, but up at the front Charlotte Perkins joins Alexis Mason once again in the 3rd and 4th row by passing Vanessa Schaaf through the chicane of turn 7 and turns 8, and the Mercedes pass the McLaren.
Yeah, good start. Everyone just keeping it compliant at this initial stage as Katie Grafton made the long right-hander, the very, very long right-hander at Repsol Curve. Down the inside goes Vanessa Schaaf to try and take the place. Slick switch back and then contact. Esme Chambers clatters into the rear of the Mercedes car, the McLaren car, excuse me, I believe that is. Willow Keeble up to P8. Lily Browning, what a start. Look, 53% damage on the left. It's going to have to be a retreat, surely. No, it's not. We know Esme Chambers is made of sterner stuff as Vanessa Hostella has no front wing at all. Suboptimal. Towards turn 1 we go. Emma Clay leads. Steel King in P2. Lee Woodward in 3rd. Top 4 breaking away. Willow Keeble making a place, as is Catherine Ormerod. Esme Chambers fighting with one arm tied behind her back. But they've all got to be careful here on tyre management. Front left is going to take a punishing, especially when you take turn 3 like that.
That's the front wing damage coming into fruition for Esme Chambers there. Tried to throw the car into the long right-hander. The front wing just said no, and now they've got Regan Boylan for company. In 11th place, the Audi will be switching and bobbing in the Aston Martin's mirrors, trying to get the better of them and trying to make a move past. And an opportune moment through turn 6 in towards turn 7, but just backs out. Doesn't think about it this time around. It's a long race to go. 33 laps here in Barcelona. And Regan knows that if she can make the move slightly later on in the lap and not compromise anything here, that is going to be all important. Heather gets the better of Laney Milligan, as does Jazz Luna as well, coming through the top of turn 9 and benefiting from that straight line mode. And speaking of benefiting from moves, Vanessa Schaaf and Willow Keeble are going to benefit from the disconnect of Charlotte Perkins. The Mercedes will fall down the order. As you can see, the ghosted car there making their way through turns 13 and turns 14, as the Ferrari gifted essentially a free place there.
Already internet gremlins early doors for a bunch of drivers, which is extremely sad to see. Emma Clay trying to break away at the early stage, though. Gap 4 tenths of a second, had grown it to 6 tenths. So managing this particular stint really well. You can see how narrow she takes turn number 3. No doubt a slight lift to keep the front left in the window, just so then she can take the tyres a little bit further. Excellent start to the stint. On board with Catherine Thielking, though, trying to chase her down. You can see just under half the battery will recharge very rapidly indeed. We'll see what she does with the car throughout this phase. Keeps it in medium. Emma Clay, I think, going for a boost based on the gap. As round goes Regan Boylan. Might well have been contact, might have been a mistake. We don't know for sure, but it's plummeting down the pecking order for the Audi driver, which is not where they would have wanted to be after a positive qualifying performance.
A stunning qualifying from Regan Boylan. Started from 9th and now finds herself all the way down in, what is that, 19th place. Dropped 10 after just a singular spin, and Charlotte Perkins continuing to fall down the order. So Lily Browning finds herself in 8th place, which is a spectacular start from the Haas car that started this race in 14th, if you remind yourselves of that. Esme Chambers up to 9th, Heather up to 10th, so within your traditional top 10 points. As we run down towards the opening corner, once again, the front four have been detached from the likes of Vanessa Schaaf and Willow Keeble. It's a four-way fight for this race at the moment, but it all can change in the blink of an eye should we see the likes of Bert Mylander make his way on towards the circuit. Nicole Machuca gets the better of Def Not Jazz in towards the opening corner here at Barcelona. The Alpine holds the defensive line, and the inside does well, but Jazz Luna thought about a move around the outside, but doesn't want to commit to it this early on. We saw Perkins and Heather having good battles, and this is Perkins back in the race now. So we'll have a recovery drive on her hands.
Yeah, Regan through on Curious Fire as well. Her road to recovery begins now. Up at the front, Lee Woodward. Worst visual cam you've ever seen in your life, because what can you see? Actually, quite a lot. Reticule locked firmly on the top two. So we have Charlotte Perkins back in the session, very much so. She's lost a little bit of time to the cars ahead, and you can see there might be a reason why. Pre the right-hand side of the front wing, my drillers, it's damaged. 40% damage. It is devastating. However, Esme Chambers is carrying the damage. No doubt that, well, Charlotte Perkins might well try to do the same. Lee Woodward closing in on Catherine Thielking, of course, the race winner at the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. Through the final corner, near Sagrada Familia. Familiar, you say? Barely know her. Through lap number 5 we go. In the wheel track, slipstream all the way through, but it's all management. No real urgency to make the move stick. Unless you're Catherine Ormerod and you're close enough, you might as well. Peeling out of the slipstream, car as big as possible, just to loom large in the mirrors, but no real moves being made. Perkins deciding front wing damage is far too much to bear. Into the pits they go.
I was wondering how long Charlotte Perkins would try and see that damage out. It could have lent quite nicely into the two-stop strategies. We do see Jazz Luna now get the better of Nicole Machuca after that earlier move in towards the first corner. The Alpine is caught back once again. And the Audi back through into 11th place, 4.6 seconds off the back of what would be the traditional scoring points category or territory here in Formula 1. But of course in W1, if you haven't seen all the Instagram posts that are pinned on our Instagram, go check them out first and foremost. Secondly, the opportunity to score points all the way down to 15th here in the W1 Sim Series, which makes for a thrilling championship decider when we do get to the latter stages of this season. Up at the front four remain unchanged from where they once qualified. It's Clay, Thielking, Woodward and Mason in that order.
Top 3 in the championship, top 3 in the pecking order here at the Barcelona Grand Prix. Lee Woodward closest to trying to make an impression for the top places. Again, not using much of the battery. You just saw the red light flickering. It's exactly what they'll be running with. Just burn it for about half the straight and then begin that super clipping, begin that management phase. Looking on the rear-bound camera of Emma Clay. You can see Thielking taking a wider line, maybe asking a little bit more out of the front tyres. Emma Clay minimising the distance, reducing the amount of work she has to do through the tyres and with the battery. It's very interesting to see the different philosophies as Willow Keeble makes that move. Has burned the battery through turn 3, said it could happen if they had stored enough electricity in the tank, and Willow Keeble's used it to great effect. Ferrari now 1st and 5th in this race.
Some fantastic points if this was the Constructors' Championship. If you're brand new to the series, there is no Constructors within the W1 Sim Series. It is every driver out for themselves. But Ferrari notably have done so well over the course of Season 2 so far. Some good performances from both Miss Nutrix and Emma Clay, and of course any reservists that have stepped in over the course of the season so far. And I think if we did ever start doing a Constructors' Championship, Ferrari would be one of the teams that is almost certainly up there in contention every single season so far. On board maybe with McLaren as well. Lee Woodward in 3rd. It's Vanessa Schaaf in 6th. Stepping in for Miyuki Panda here this afternoon. And Regan Boylan is right on the back. Should I say alongside of Katie Grafton. In towards turn 10 and through turn 11 they will go. That's Regan Boylan recovering up to 16th place. Katie Grafton once again knocked down. And into the pits comes Esme Chambers. I think finally decided to have enough of the damage that she was holding on to.
A great move from Regan Confidence. Look at the run she's got through the final corner. Stand up, take notice, because Boylan stands on business. Through she goes, up the investment, P14. That's firmly nestled into the points. Yellow flag again, Alicia Hofflack not enjoying proceedings. In fact, she's out. Retires on the track. And already one driver bows out 7 laps of the way through this Grand Prix. Still the top 4, a hair's breadth away from one another. Filking just beginning to up the ante slightly here. Just trying to pick the pocket of Emma Clay. Emma's managing this absolutely brilliantly, though, I will say. Do you want some extra glaze on the side? I've got you. Don't worry. It is an excellently managed first stint so far. Going for a wider line, cutting through. Again, asking less of the front left tyre. And we're getting to that phase now in a few laps' time where we'll see drivers start to think about properly pitting if they're on the medium compound tyre. Steel King was quite close. Another yellow flag. Vanessa Hostetler meeting with the grass for a brief moment. Steel King closing in, closing and closing, but not close enough.
Have a look at your tyres on the left-hand side. Majority of the field opting to start on the medium compound. There's a few sporadic drivers starting on the hard tyres. Vanessa Scharf, who's done incredibly well in the opening stages of this race, is on the hard compound tyre, is doing the best out of any driver that started on that compound. As we do see Jazz Luna getting past Nicole Machuca again. I think we saw Lainey Milligan and Regan Boylan having a good scrap amongst themselves. And Lainey Milligan, one of the other few drivers, along with Katie Grafton, that started on the hard compound tyre. Esme Chambers did start on the hards, has subsequently gone to the mediums after securing that early bit of wing damage. Charlotte Perkins has gone a double hard stint so far, and Stark Loki, that's Vanessa Hostetler, also started on the hard compound of tyres. So a lot of strategy still to look forward to as we get in towards this race. But if you're Catherine Theoking at the moment, Carl, what is going through your head as you watch the likes of Emma Clay, the Scuderia Ferrari HB Esports team, in front of you, trying to run away, but you're just trying to hold them at bay?
I think she's got more pace in the tank, is the thing. You can see her battery is completely chock full, and I wouldn't suspect that was just for this last lap. That's going to be through a lot of laps in this race so far, so I think she's just got to be unorthodox. Pull the trigger, get out in front, dictate the pace of the race for herself. Maybe psychologically coax Emma into using more of her tyres. That could be a plan. So she holds it. Let's ride on board. Try and go narrow. Nope, there's the wash of understeer through turn number 3. A little bit of boost on the way out. You can see she catches up. But she holds that narrow line. She's got way more of a chance of making an impression. Next opportunity could be into the hairpin. In fact, she's right on the back of Emma Clay, who has to throw up the defensive shape. Surely it's going to be a bit of boost obliterated to try and make the move. No, still contains it, keeps reserved. And I think she's kind of shooting herself in the foot at this stage. I think she's just got to get past, dictate the pace of the race for herself here.
I think you're absolutely right as they make their way down towards turn 10. I think Theo King's happy to play the patient game. I have just noticed we've got the bug back where the straight line mode's not opening. So that's fun, as always. Thanks, EA.
Yes.
I hadn't noticed it. Then I looked at the graphics, it just wasn't opening. I was like, huh, that's strange. Anyway, moving on. Catherine Theo King, I think just playing the patient game. He's happy to play the patient game at the moment because he's getting a little bit of slipstream. She gets the opportunity to have overtake throughout the course of the lap, of course, is in within 1 second of Emma Clay in front. The detection point comes as you make your way in towards turn 13. And I wonder if we are going to see a move here. Yellow flags further back. Regan Boylan again has had a moment, but here comes Theo King. Thought about it in towards the opening corner. As we jump back, just have a look at Regan Boylan. Is there damage? Ooh. There's a fair bit of damage on that Audi this time.
Both end plates completely got, I mean, that hit for God's sake. Up at the front though, Lee Woodward and Theo King are fighting. Suddenly the battle for the lead turns into the battle for P2. Holding the narrow line is the reigning champion. The person that finished P2 in the championship concedes. Lee Woodward takes the place but then spoons it wide at the left-hander. Theo King will happily gobble up that place once again. Keep P2, but for a moment, suddenly it all hit boiling point up at the front.
Very, very close. Lee Woodward wanted to get on with this race. Catherine Theo King, an excellent marksmanship of defence there, trying to hold off from the McLaren that was behind her. Alexis Mason again, I think, just sitting there playing the patient game, knowing this race is a long way to go and doesn't want to get too caught up in the early stages of this race so far. Both Regan Boylan and Vanessa Hostetler making their way into pit road. That'll be for tyres and respective wing damage for Regan Boylan. And that's Lee Woodward diving off to the right-hand side. They're going for the earliest stop of the front four so far. On the medium compounded tyres, they'll be looking almost certainly at this point, probably to go for that two-stop strategy, wouldn't you? I'd assume anyway.
Looks like it. It seems very, very early to call it onto hard tyres and try and take them to the end because based on intel, it's tricky to manage the tyres if you don't box like at least lap 13 or at most lap 13 for that first stop. So if you're going lap 11, that is a brave, brave call from the reigning champion. Just trying something a little bit different though. We like to see it. Brief shout out for Hevar as well, who's got maximum power on the entire grid. P8, chasing down Lily Browning on board with the Rapid Williams driver, going for some big points out there. Many competitors have fallen by the wayside or fallen foul to the tricky nature of the Spanish Grand Prix. Heather, no such problems. She's having an absolute storm out there.
I was going to say blind R, but you're right, Storm R as well, as they make their way through the number of puns that we could make will keep you here for the rest of the day. Lily Browning, even though she may be feeling a little under the weather, especially with no rain expected here in Barcelona, to try and cool down the race circuit, does incredibly well to find herself up 7 positions in 7th at the moment from where she started in 14th place. And of course, a lot of similar talk for Willow Keeble, up 5 from where she started in 10th. So a lot of good drives up and down the field at the moment, and ones that, should it stay this way, will be talked a lot about by the drivers. Catherine Thielking now within 0.2 of a second of Emma Clay, making her way through the opening sector of this race circuit. No Lee Woodward to worry about, but Alexis Mason just watching and learning and understanding how these drivers are taking these corners. If we ride on board with Alexis here, Carl, it'll be interesting to see what it looks like from the POV of the Mercedes.
Oh, just pure patience for Alexis Mason, pole sitter at the Canadian Grand Prix. If you haven't seen the clip on the W1 socials, go and check it out. It was a bloody good lap through the left and right before Campsa corner. Again, a little clatter over the sausage curbs on the inside. No real need to attack though. Slightly wide through Campsa. Again, you can see the throttle on the telemetry. Just a lift off to keep those left-hand side tyres under control. Thielking taking narrower lines, trying to be a bit more aggressive, but it's sector 1 where she's really going to try and make the move, which doesn't seem likely based on her stance. But if she is going to throw caution to the wind, as no, Heather spoons it. She's not got damage on the car, does well to keep it on the straight and narrow, but that's the last thing she needed. Luckily only loses a few seconds, still very much in the points. Race not run by any means. Def not Jazz, though, in the top 10. Brought back into the conversation. Thielking finally trying to go for the move. Shows the shape to the outside. That will compromise Clay for 1 and 2. Maybe even turn 3. Does Thielking dare to go round the outside? She's going to carry the momentum. Apply the boost. Switch it to the inside. Squeeze as much as he wants. Cadillac's going to come on through. Thielking leads the Spanish Grand Prix. It was brewing up for a while, but finally it's happened. Emma Clay will send the nose to the inside, but we have a new race leader, finally, after 12 tours of Barcelona.
The first proper move in the top 4 that we've seen, excluding pit stops, and Thielking sent it with pure conviction and control and manages to take the race lead away from Emma Clay, who has been on that front step entirety of this race so far. Qualified in pole and has continued to dominate this race so far, but now the Cadillac decides that she wants to get on with the Barcelona Grand Prix, and getting on with it is she indeed, nearly putting half a second to Emma Clay already through half a lap or so. Of course, Emma Clay will get that overtake mode as they come round the final corner onto lap 14, and Thielking had to use that advantage when she had it, and in towards the first corner. Already cars trying to chase down in front of them. I think that's going to be Regan Boylan coming through to be lapped.
You can see the battery light flashing on the back of the Cadillac. Emma Clay could have immediate retaliation opportunities if she wanted, but no. Thielking given the luxury to stay out in front, save the battery, and just push on down the road. She's had plenty of time. Look how fast she's going. 7 tenths through turn number 3. Emma Clay will bring that back now. She's got plenty of battery to play with. Gonna say, for the greatest in-lap in all of human history, you're gonna watch it. It's gonna happen. Through the left-hander we go. And look at the different dynamics of the battery management. Alexis Mason practically pushing Emma Clay through the hairpin corner. She tries to recharge the battery. Alexis saying, get on with it. Don't let me lose touch with the front of the field. It's all gonna be happening. Keeping an eye on Lee Woodward's progress as well. They've overtaken Lily Browning. She's on her way towards Catherine Ormerod on the hard compound tyres. So if they are going to play it for a one-stop, it could be bold and brazen, but never say never.
I wonder if this is the strategy that gives Lee Woodward a little bit of flexibility. Here comes Emma Clay, though, making her way through turns 11 and turns 12. Chose the outside line, the Tiger line in Barcelona, and that lead only lasted just less than a singular lap. She gets the move done, and into pit road comes Emma Clay. She knew that this is the plan that she had all along. Alexis Mason joins her in pit road, and those medium tyres well and truly done will allow Catherine Thielking to go for one more tour at a minimum. But Emma Clay knows it's hard tyres from here on out. This almost certainly could be the one-stop strategy. But wait for the car to teleport further down pit road. There we go. That's still ahead of Alexis Mason. Nicole Machuca does pick up a 3-second penalty in the pits. Both Ferraris actually on the same lap, doing typical Ferrari strategies and sticking to the exact same plan. But Emma Clay behind Lee Woodward by just about 2.5 seconds. But worth remembering, in her favour is 4 laps worth of tyre life.
That is a lifetime as well at Barcelona. A lot of pain already shot through the front left in particular for the McLaren championship chaser, winner of Imola. Has got a lot of work to do to win in Barcelona. Speaking of Barcelona, Heather in P8. Back to the action. Emma Clay can now close in. She's got a full tank of battery. She's going to push to the limit in theory, although you want some battery left in the tank, because who knows when race leader Catherine Thielking will pull the pit lane trigger. That's the question. Does she do it at the end of this lap, or does she dare to go one more lap on these mediums? No. Bails into the pit lane, no doubt using every single ounce of power and energy that she had. Get you stopped on your marks, absolutely fine. The slow trundle to the end of the pit lane, and then we'll see where she really fizzles out in this order.
It feels like an absolute lifetime, this pit lane here in Barcelona. Vanessa Schaaf goes through. Catherine Ormerod joins Catherine Thielking in pit road, and you'll see Lee Woodward on the track map passing on through, as well as Emma Clay and potentially Alexis Mason as well. There goes Clay, through comes Alexis Mason as well. It's going to be close between Mason and Thielking on pit exit. Can Thielking try and hold it into first corner? Not quite. Will come out just behind of Alexis Mason, but of course will have that extra lap of battery, or extra lap of tyre life, should I say, over the Mercedes in front of her. We rode on board with Lee Woodward just a few laps ago. Already after 4 laps of racing, had 25% wear on the front left compound of tyre, which really shows how brutal this circuit is if you're a pair of Pirelli rubber.
The pain you put the tyres through here at the Spanish Grand Prix, as Willow Kibble making mincemeat of Catherine Ormerod. That's the first and last time, I will say that. Esme Chambers has recovered to P11 after the early escapades. Fair play, as Charlotte Perkins has recovered to P10 so far, albeit a couple of penalties in the field. 1 for Perkins and 1 for 9th place Nicole Machuca in the Alpine. We have the McLaren 1-2 currently. Vanessa Schaaf, who is yet to pit, or started on the hard compound tyres, now leads this race, has crossed over onto lap 17, still yet to pit. Lee Woodward, de facto race leader, with Emma Clay, Alexis Mason and Catherine Thielking rounding out the top 5 as Perkins. Bit of a boost to the battery. Nicole Machuca doesn't put up much of a resistance, but Perkins through to P9.
The only drivers at the moment yet to make their mandatory pit stop are Nicole Machuca, Zara Shah-Savari. We've got as well Lily Browning, who peels into pit road this time around, and Vanessa Schaaf as well. So Vanessa, the only driver who starts on the hards that is still out on the circuit on her 17th lap on those particular pair of tyres. Everybody else is on mediums. Nicole Machuca and Zara Shah-Savari, those two that are yet to make their way in. I'll say that as Nicole Machuca does make her way in, as does Zara this time around. So lots to look forward to in the second half of this race. We might even see the 3 stop from a couple of drivers. We're expecting it at a bare minimum from Charlotte Perkins, because she's done a double stint on hard compounder tyres. Well, at some point, will have to take a different compound apart from the hard compound that she's currently running. Def Not Jazz did get the better of Lainey Milligan through the first, in towards the first corner, should I say. And Catherine Thielking here, Carl, not far off the back of Alexis Mason already.
Not at all. Spent that first lap just coaxing the tyres in. Don't want to take too much life out of them too early. Now she can really put down the pace through the final corner. On to lap number 18 of this race. We've well breached the fulcrum point of this race. Fastest lap goes to Thielking, a 16.035. Could dip into the 15s if people really want to push, but that is very, very competitive. Through turns 1 and 2. How on earth will she manage this? The answer is she's chopped the 10th and then almost another one just in the first 3 corners. She has got the bit between her teeth. She knows where she should have been after Imola, and this is proof in the pudding. Closing in visually at every single opportunity, as the top 4 of this race, minus Vanessa Schaaf, who's yet to pit, will lock horns once again. Very, very close in. Alexis actually takes the narrow line, anticipating a potential move with a bit of battery boost. Thielking throwing all the shapes. Alexis Mason running out of answers.
I don't think she has a singular answer for every question Thielking's posing to her. Thielking thought about a move in towards turn 10, the exit of the straight line mode. But again, didn't go for it this time around. You can see that time on the board at the bottom of your screen, just how close Theelking is getting to the back of Alexis Mason. And every time that number goes red, it means Theelking is getting ever closer. The Mercedes outfit just in front. They run through turn 14 to start onto lap 19 of 33 here. And down towards turn 1, they'll have the straight line mode. They'll have overtake available to them. Will Catherine Theelking. And we'll see if they're able to try and generate anything in towards turn 1. It's a favoured move by a lot of drivers. Thought about it for half a second. Reminded the Mercedes that they are indeed in their mirrors and right behind them. But didn't go for it on this occasion. Maybe she'll try it through the long right-hander of turn 3. Washes out quite a bit. She has done over the course of this race so far. But she's got a switchback last time around on Emma Clay, if you can remember, many laps ago. And that's what got her up to P1 in the first place. But you've got to remember, Carl, the more these two continue to fight, the better advantage that Emma Clay will have to try and run away and build that gap in its first instance.
Exactly right. I was surprised Theelking didn't make the move actually after Campser, because Alexis Mason showed no signs of burning any battery. Battery was flashing all the way through that final sector, so clearly had no interest in getting on up the road. So Theelking really should have made the move into this corner where Emma Clay is, but wanted that overtake mode, I suspect, just to have a bit more battery. She's losing time, though. Just a couple of temps here and there, but that's all going to add up as Emma Clay is ever closer to pinching away once again what will be the race lead once Vanessa peels into the pit lane. Theelking pushing Alexis Mason through the final corner, basically. Now to burn. Everything at your disposal. Down the start-finish straight. Hunker down into the slipstream. The battery starts flashing, and it's easy as you like, not just for Catherine Theelking, who moves up to P4, but for Emma Clay, who takes the provisional lead of the race.
She absolutely does. Same move made by not one but two drivers, both Clay and Theelking opting for a lunge in towards that opening corner. Celebrations are heard across the pond in Italy as they know their driver could be on track to getting a race win under her belt here in Barcelona for the first time we visit here in the W1 Sim Series. But Lee Woodward will want to try and do everything in their power to see if they can try and challenge the Ferrari over the next 14 laps of racing. And who knows? We might even see Catherine Theelking and Alexis Mason come and join the fray. And even a safety car could peel this entire pack back together and throw chaos, strategy and confusion all up in the air together. That is all to come in the Barcelona Grand Prix.
Could do. Wonder what Lee Woodward's tyres are saying at this particular moment in time. She's been putting the McLaren through hell. The left tyres, oh my god, 60% on the front left is ridiculous. That is a lot of pain and shame you're putting through those left-hand side tyres, and they're going to have to stop again in this race. No doubt about that. Their teammate finally has pulled the pit lane trigger. Vanessa Scharf off the hard tyres will go on to the mediums, and we're into the 115s for fastest laps. Theelking knows that time is of the essence, and she's going to burn through that time as quickly as she can. Peeled 6 tenths off of Lee Woodward the previous lap, who is clinging on to the overtake mode of Emma Clay for dear life. But resistance might be futile. Theelking is on the rampage.
I think Charlotte Perkins has had a moment as they make their way into pit road. There was yellow flags in the third and final sector, either as they made their way in towards pit entry or maybe just onto that final corner, which caused them to make a late call in towards pit entry. But Lily Browning finds their way up to 8th place past Perkins, who has made their way into the pits. Of course, did need to make their mandatory stop this afternoon. They've done 2 stints on a set of the hard compound tyres. It's now mediums to try and see them until race end here, Carl. But interestingly enough, that Vanessa Scharf managed to do 20 laps on a set of the hard compounded tyres. Lee Woodward's done 10 and is on 60% wear. That shows the difference in maybe the setup of the car, but I know that Woodward's not going to be able to go until the end here, almost certainly locking herself in for the 2-stop strategy. Definitely Jazz and Esme Chambers having a good scrap here as they make their way to the exit of turn 3 and in towards turn 4. The long left-hander, Jazz holds it. I would say she's in an Aston Martin sandwich, but quite literally the Aston Martins are putting together an Audi sandwich as they make their way into sector 2.
Pace like chrome through the left-hander. Contactless transactions, left, right and centre. The lead Audi in this race, Definite Jazz, has actually had a great run out there, I will say. Has kept it consistent, brought us some brilliant battling. Currently sitting in a comfortable points-paying position, and there could well be more on the table as through Esme Chambers goes, just on the bottom of your picture, down the inside of Lainey Milligan. Plenty of battery, medium compound tyres, presumably fresh, and that is all she wrote in the context of P11. Lee Woodward still hanging on. The second Audi of Regan Boylan, though, not too far away from a brisk battle of her own against Carlotta Marchi. just has the car poised and primed out of the right-hander, and now it is the battery war down the start-finish straight. Still could be a points finish on the table, I'm pretty sure.
Absolutely. Of course, with that penalty for Nicole Machuca as well, 3 seconds. It's anything to play for here in the last 11 laps of racing. And the circuit to Barcelona, Catalunya. Keep an eye here. The slipstream, straight line mode and overtake available to Regan Boylan. Thought about a move in towards the first corner, but didn't go for it on this occasion. Notably, though, Lee Woodward in towards the pits after only 12 laps on a set of the hard compounded tyres, which means they haven't gone to the distance that they would have liked to do. It's going to be a brand new set of mediums to take until race end. They managed to do 10 laps from race start, which makes sense, about 10 laps again, and so, well, maybe 11 laps of racing till race end at this moment in time. There goes Vanessa Schaaf, Willow Keeble and Catherine Omerod. So Lee Woodward's got a challenge on her hands if she wants to try and take victory here in Barca.
I don't want to say control attacks, but I feel like it's a good time to bring up the control attacks because it does add up a lot, and this circuit exacerbates that issue as Def Not Jazz, with a bit of a battery blitz, absolutely rinses Lainey Milligan. Brilliant stuff there from the Audi. Again, up another place, up to P12. Next target is Esme Chambers, but up the road from her is Hevar, who currently sits in some brilliant points. Top 10, the Charlotte Perkins takes the fastest lap. No real surprise on a fresh set of the medium tyres. Currently in P9. Up towards turn 1 we go. Descending down the crest. Esme Chambers looms large down the inside. Late on the brakes as you dare. Enough space left just about on the outside. And then enough space for sure in the later phase as Ormerod shows the nose to the inside of Willow Keeble, who's holding down a brilliant P5 at the moment. But they're going to be joined very shortly by Lee Woodward.
Keeble's had an excellent race so far. It's been mentioned so many times in chat. Of course, starting 10th place has made 5 up to where they stand at present. I think as well, a driver that's gone slightly under the radar, and we appreciate she's not feeling very well at this moment in time. Lily Browning is 8th place, Carl. But if we look back over the course of the first 3 races, Silverstone, P15, 1 point to a name. Canada, P15, 1 point to a name. Imola, P15, 1 point to a name. To score points in all 3 races is a stunning achievement for a first outing. But to be in P8 at the moment, this will be the best ever point she's scored in the W1 Sim Series.
For the sake of not cursing her, please, Lily, just make it happen. But, oh, I concur completely. What a brilliant race she's had as Willow Keeble has now got Lee Woodward right behind them, and that's going to prove a very, very problematic set of affairs. In fact, Lee Woodward almost picks the pocket into turn number 7. Look at this. McLaren just darting underneath the diffuser, in fact, nearly snapping a tiny piece off as a souvenir at the Spanish Grand Prix. Battery burn to the outside. Is Willow Keeble going to retake the racing line? Nope, still throws up the defensive shape. Lee Woodward, though, the surplus of grip is just going to say McLaren fearlessly forward. Up to P5 goes the reigning champion. P4 could well be on the table. But then, a massive chasm to the top 3 who have pulled off a brilliant 1-stop. Emma Clay is checking out in front.
She is indeed, has commanded this race, even when it looked under threat from Catherine Theoking. She was cool, calm and collected behind the Cadillac outfit and now finds herself with an advantage of 2.5 seconds, give or take half a second or so. And last time around was about 0.4 of a second quicker than Catherine Theoking. So that gap is continuing to grow. But over the course of the last 8 or so laps of racing, it is all about consistency here. You can set the fastest lap of the race. It means absolutely nothing if you go on to set an 18 or a 17-second lap the next time around. You do see Esme Chambers get the better of Heather, who I think has had a bit of a moment there at the crest of turn 12. An easy place just to drop the car. Is there any damage on board with that? Williams doesn't look like it. So the bare minimum kept it out of the water. He keeps it in the points-paying positions, does Heather, but she's under pressure from Regan Boylan. In towards the first corner. Can the straight line speed of the Audi get the move made? In towards the first corner. Regan Boylan alongside and ahead. In towards the braking zone. Round the outside. Tries Heather. It'll open up the inside for turn 2. Regan Boylan holds it through 3. Still side by side they run. And Heather doing everything in her power to hold alongside. Burns the battery to an extra degree. 4th for a moment. The Regan was going to send it into turn 4. Heather with a defensive masterclass for a moment there, not allowing Regan Boylan past.
Affords enough real estate on the outside for Regan, who goes for another switchback. out of turn 5, now through the kink of 6. It's just going to save the battery. Play it patient. What a show-stopping spectacle as nearly the back end goes awry for the Audi. Brilliant from both Heather and Regan. Take a bow. That is an epic battle. As Willow Keeble, as Lee Woodward ahead of them. Just over a second now is the gap. Lee is checking out in that battle. Ormerod is closing in. Again, back to the dynamic duo of combat for P6 on the road. The Fury from Faenza has had Willow Keeble thorn in her side the entire race. Now has got to put those gremlins very much by the wayside. We saw Lainey Milligan and Esme Chambers both peel into the pit lane. Esme had damage. I don't know about Lainey Milligan, but she's going to try and relieve Zara Shah-Savari of a points-paying position, and does. Round the outside, big surplus of grip. The Red Bull moves through for a singular point.
As it stands at the moment, lap 27 of 33 here in Barcelona. And lots still can happen. Of course, we saw moments where drivers have, well, little images of a little bit of throttle happiness, we'll put it that way. Regan Boylan once again on the back of Heather, making their way through the corners. They battled so fluently last time. Through turn 4, thinks about Heather here into turn 5. The left-hander looks to stick a nose down the inside as the Audi driver of Boylan. Heather again going defensive, holding that outside line, and in towards the chicane of 7 and 8. Tries to go too wide, little bit deep there, but still there is Heather. Once again not giving up, but this time Regan Boylan makes the move past, finds her way into 12th place, and the recovery drive of all recovery drives here from Regan Boylan is just getting a step better every lap.
And aside Spider-Man brand new day, we have a big beautiful battle in Barcelona between Regan Boylan and Heather. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant stuff, as Heather could well claim it back here. How much battery has Regan saved in the tank? Heather's got plenty to play with. Shot full of understeer through the final corner, but now burned absolutely everything in the pack towards turn number 1. The Audi driver has plenty to play with though, so towards turn 1 and 2, nothing happening for Heather at the moment. Bit more confidence on the brakes, taking loads of curb on the inside of turn 1, could set them up for turn number 2. Nothing doing though. Gap at the front, just noticing, coming down a little bit, only by a few tenths of a second. It's the first time it's gone under 2 seconds in a while. Theo King has just been a little bit more consistent, activated the afterburners a little bit. She's running out of time, though. It could all come down to the last lap here.
It's interesting to have a look at their last lap times, just separated by 0.05 of a second. That's exactly how close both Clay and Theo King are lapping, lap after lap after lap. And it's the microscopic gains and the microscopic losses that we're seeing being the consistent factor. 2.5 tenths or so quicker was Catherine Theo King in the opening sector this time around. But of course, it is flip-flopping. It's going left, it's going right, it's going forward, it's going backwards. So you see Heather there just having a bit of a moment in towards turns 10 and turns 11. Again, just easy to make mistakes if you're a little bit nervous on the throttle, which is a really difficult circuit to get right as Barcelona. As we see, what a move from Esme Chambers there, swooping across the bow of Lainey Milligan to claim the corner in towards turn 10. And finding her way into the points-paying positions herself. The soft compound of tyres really starting to pay dividends. Again, second sector for Clay and Theo King, separated by 0.04 of a second, and it was 0.2 of a second quicker for Theo King in sector 3. But over the course of a lap, about 0.4 difference, with not many laps to go. Here comes Lainey Milligan once again in towards the first corner. Esme Chambers went defensive to try and hold that place, and does so successfully this time around. Keep an eye on Nicole Machuca on the back of Jazz Luna, making their way through the section of turns 5, 6 and 7. And the Alpine wanting to try and pay attention to that Audi and see how they're racing. The tyre favour is in favour of Machuca by just 2 laps, both of them on the hard compound of tyre. But of course, as we get over the course of the race, that 3-second penalty is going to be critical to the negligence of Nicole Machuca.
Don't count out Regan Boylan for a spot in the top 10 as well. She is, it's a demolition job on the gap up ahead. Gained a second on just this lap alone from turn 5 onwards. So excellent definition of resilience, Regan Boylan's race. Was down and out for the count early doors. Had to make an early pit stop. Suddenly she finds herself P12 and then with a good shout of some very decent points. So that is why you never give up. Speaking of never give up, Heather in P13 has got Catherine Thielking, who is still trying to eat away at the lead that Emma Clay has. Might have some overtake mode from the back markers as a little compliment, a little charitable donation towards her efforts towards the front of the field. Gap now at 1.6 seconds, just chomping away at it little by little, bit by bit. But Emma just biding her time. You can see how patient she is. Over half the tank of battery. You can almost feel it. You can feel the confidence oozing out from your screens that she just has this race under lock and key.
It's confidence personified, I think, is the way to look at this race so far, as blue flags fly to allow Field King through, and shortly down the road will be Mason and Scharf and then Woodward as well. Not many drivers are now within contention, but again, this time around, 7/100ths of a second quicker was Catherine Field King over the course of last lap. We see the Audi there, just about to be passed. That is Regan Boylan, who's in the middle of our front two of the championship. So up to P12 have been lapped in this race so far as we approach onto the final 3 laps of racing here in Barcelona. With just over 14 laps a corner as she moves out of the way dutifully to allow Field King through. We have got just 52 corners to go. It doesn't seem like a lot. 42 corners to go. I'll correct myself on that one. 42 corners until we see the checkered flag car.
Something's not right here. I'm saying that because Emma Clay lost about 6 or 7 tenths on the previous lap. Now she burns the battery to just regain some of that margin. Whether it was just a lap of saving, you can see the front left tyre just under 70% in comparison to Field King behind. Her tyre, a front left, what is that on? The answer is about the same. So Field King throwing caution to the wind, pitted a lap later, of course, has confidence in the tyres. Emma Clay perhaps playing a little bit more of a management game. It's just teetering on the edge of overtake mode. If Field King's going to have any chance of winning this race here at round 4, she's got to get in overtake range by the end of this lap, then use the next lap, save the battery. Next lap after that, gun it.
The little mistakes that are starting to creep in. It almost feels like somewhat of an endurance event around here. There's a lot of corners. They come at you incredibly thick and fast, and there's not many opportunities for respite here in Barcelona. There's one notable long straight, but apart from that, you are constantly worrying about the car. Cars around you, battery level, throttle levels, brake levels even. And it's just that constant mental load that really pushes the drivers to their absolute limits here. And Field King and Clay are both being challenged over the course of these laps with 2 to go now. We enter onto lap 32 of 33, just over 28 corners to deal with for both of our drivers. And as it stands, Emma Clay last time around 4/10 of a second quicker than Field King. Regan Boylan just behind, up into the top 11 after getting past Nicole Machuca on the start-finish straight.
There you go, great stuff, Regan. Audi 10 and 11, great stuff. Maximum Audi all raw. And there's his Hevar going up for potentially P12. In fact, will be P12. Nicole Machuca with a penalty over her head. As Miss Nutrix quite rightly says, going to be close. If you're unlucky, you have a puncture. 80% is not far away in the realms of tyre wear. Emma Clay and Field King relatively close to that. They should make the end and be absolutely fine. I don't know what the situation is for other drivers though, but perhaps say pit maybe a lap or 2 earlier, whether they've been managing their tyres with the same level of decorum. Through Campsa Corner we go, and Def Not Jazz with a mistake. Regan Boylan right on the back, 82% on the front left, now running on borrowed time on the hard compound tyres, praying they don't pop, because it's an insane recovery drive, but it could all fall by the wayside very quickly.
Has done 22 laps on this set of tyres so far. Pitted after lap 9 and has had the recovery drive of recovery drives. So they managed to get into that top 10, which is not completely out of the picture at the moment. That will be celebrations in Camp Audi tonight, but as you said, they've just got to look after the tyres. The question's going to be up at the front. What is going to be the similar situation? 76% on board with Emma Clay at the start of the final lap here in Barcelona. Just behind her, Catherine Field King. A very similar story, 77 exactly. Field King is pushing to try and catch up to the Ferrari in front, but I think without overtake mode, it could be said and done already.
Yeah, only a few corners to go of this Spanish Grand Prix, and regardless of which way you look at it, you have 2 sides of the coin. One, a masterclass in management. The other, a race all the way to the end to close the gap, to pile on the pressure, to bring everything out of the car, out of themselves, out of the track that lies beneath them, the bitumen of Barcelona. And Emma Clay rued her preparation in rounds gone by, even though she won in Canada and came oh so close in Imola. Surely she has to be happy with this, because it's a demonstration, an exhibition in excellence.
Simply superb for the Scuderia this time around, and as you said, rightly so, one in Canada. And now for Emma Clay, will go once again lights to flag. Coming through turn 14 to take victory in Barcelona. Catherine Thielking will have to settle for second best here this afternoon. It will be Alexis Mason that comes home in third place. So a podium for herself, I think, believing and topping her best result so far, which we got in Imola last time around. Vanessa Schaaf coming back from injury, should I say, to take fourth place away from Lee Woodward, who finishes fifth. Willow Keeble will come home in sixth. A stellar drive for the Scuderia. Omerod will finish seventh. Eighth will go to Charlotte Perkins on circuit, with that 3-second penalty hanging over her head. So unless any mistakes happen here, it will hold on to it. But Lily Browning just behind. A season's best for Browning if she manages to hold on to P9 here.
Take a bow, Lily Browning. Perkins through the final corner. By no means is their road to recovery been particularly easy. P8 when all is said and done. Lily Browning, hold your head high. Personal best, P9 here in Spain. What a drive. After the illness conundrums early doors, after doubting if she could even make the whole race distance, a top 10 finish is richly deserved.
Simply spectacular from start to finish. An 87% finishing tyres, I think, for a few drivers. I believe that might be Regan Boylan, who managed to hold on that hard compound of tyre for 24 laps of racing. The longest anybody took a singular set of tyres over the course of the race so far. And the top step of your podium, Emma Clay, will take the spoils that come with it here in Barcelona. It's an American on P2 with Catherine Thielking and Brit in Alexis Mason that takes P3, the third place step, and the crowd cheer just down below. Lots of colours on display in terms of the Spanish national flag. But here are your accolades on the screen at the moment. It's Emma Clay that, of course, takes race victory. It's Charlotte Perkins that takes both the fastest lap and driver of the day. The most overtakes goes to Esme Chambers, of course, finished 15th. And cleanest driver, Catherine Thielking, one of only a few drivers with 0 warnings to her name. Included in that list is actually Emma Clay as well. Your total order then is Clay from Thielking, from Mason, from Shaft, from Woodward, Keeble, Omerod, Perkins, Browning, Luna, Boylan, Heather, Machuca, Markey, Chambers, Milligan, Grafton, Shahsavari, Nodding, Hostella, and of course Alicia Hoflack, who retired from this race slightly earlier on due to a family emergency. But what a race we've just seen in Barcelona. If this sets up the best double-double of all time, I'm looking forward to the next 3 weeks.
Oh, we're so back, honestly. We have the game's never been more back. That was a brilliant race. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Kind of weird, actually, in terms of dynamic. There were people I were expecting to struggle this race that really outdid themselves and shone in the Spanish Grand Prix. There were people that I thought were going to be right at the sharp end, and it just didn't work out for them. Very interesting dynamic from Barcelona. Very interesting indeed. Of course, next track is going to throw all that completely out the window. It's going to be anarchy. But very interesting spectacle. But in the end, cream of the crop rises to the top. Emma Clay, Thielking, they're in a class of their own today.
Well, speaking of Clay, Thielking and Mason as well, all three are already in the interview waiting room. You couldn't ask for a better way to see this race out. We'll start, of course, with your race winner, Emma Clay. Her second race win of the season after claiming victory in Canada. Emma, first and foremost, welcome back to the commentary box. That must feel good to go from lights to flag in P1.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the first time we've converted a pole, I think. So that's nice.
Yeah.
I think that race was complete management central, like from lap 1. That's why, I mean, you probably saw a bit of a train behind me. Complete tyre management the entire way. Ended, I think, my hard stint on 80% just. My original strategy was actually to pit on lap 15, but when I saw Catherine continuing on to lap 15, I was like, no, let's just undercut. Oh, well, at least my engineer said that, and thank the Lord he said that, otherwise I would have just been following her for the rest of the race. So, I think that was nice.
And yeah, as you said, I was going to bring up your undercut that was so dutifully done. You got the overtake, actually, I think, through turn 13, and then decided to jump into the pits right at the very last moment. It was exactly, I think, what won you that race right at the end. It was a little bit of traffic for Theo King and Mace as they tried to weave their way back out of pit road. But talk to us about that early stages of the race. You mentioned there's a lot of traffic, a lot of train, especially when the front three, or front four, should I say, broke away. What element of management was there where you were just trying to get through that opening stage?
Yeah, I mean, just lifting everywhere. A lot of Lyco. I mean, you know, the battery is fairly generous on this track, but still, you know, it affects the tyres too, especially on this kind of track. And yeah, I mean, I don't even know what to say, to be honest. Honestly, I could see Catherine behind me, and even Alexis at one point looked really quick. And I thought, you know what, there's no point just responding to that kind of, you know, pace, because, you know, I've got my own race to do. And once Catherine kind of overtook me, I think it was into turn 4. I tried to have a little bit of a defense, but I just thought, you know what, there's no point, because as long as I can keep on the back of her, I can save my tires, sneaky undercut, and yeah, I mean, that undercut, I think it was worth like what, a second and a half, 2 seconds, and especially when she came out behind Alexis as well, that was certainly useful, and a little bit of overtake from a few back markers helped as well.
And just one final question before I hand you over to the wonderful Carl Paranek, which I've now forgotten, which is always a fun thing. That's really awkward, isn't it? I had a question lined up. I was looking at Carl very lovingly, and I've completely forgotten what I was going to say.
Oh, you're making me blush, man.
You got lost in his eyes.
I have really got lost in... Carl, I'll hand over to you, because I have no idea what I was going to ask there.
Thanks, TK. Hello, Emma. Well done.
Hello.
Congratulations. Really, really impressive. I said it was an exhibition from you because you just smashed it out of the park. But we'll go back before this race even started, because when we've talked to you after Canada, after Imola, there was sort of, not gremlins per se, but more sort of, felt like the preparation wasn't quite there. That maybe there was just a little piece of the puzzle that was missing. So what were your feelings like going into this race?
Honestly, not ideal. Like, qualifying, I knew that I'd be close to pole, if not on pole. I mean, I screwed up all my laps apart from one. I think I crap. I'm hearing you guys saw that, which is
Yes.
A bit annoying.
Even got a replay of it, so it's there double time.
Great. lovely. But that 1 millisecond that I got on Catherine for pole, that was welcomed, and I heard she backed off on her last lap. I think on one of my laps, I just caught a back marker too fast. That was on her own lap. That was my first lap. I completely forgot the question, but yeah.
No problem at all. No, it's honestly really impressive effort in qualifying. We move on next after a thoroughbred track. We completely throw it out of the water and go to Madrid. How are you feeling for that?
Absolutely dreading it. Oh my god.
Don't sound too pessimistic about our calendar choice here.
Oh my god. Anyways, I won't go into that in the calendar choices. But Madrid, you know, it's going to be, I think, a tough one for everyone. Track limits, the walls, the camber, everything mixed into one place. 22 cars on the track. I think it's going to be great for the audience and great for the experience of watching the stream with your lovely selves. Not sure if it's going to be great for the driver and their sanity, but we'll give it a good shot. I haven't honestly spent like any time on Madrid. I think I've done like half an hour worth of time trial, so that my preparation is looking good for that. And your question, Carl, that I actually now remember, preparation for this was decent, but honestly today we only got the race setup sorted out. Otherwise I would have ended both my stints on over puncture territory. So yeah, lucky for that, we got it sorted out. And
Lovely.
Fantastic.
I remembered my question. I'm going to ask you very quickly before I forget again.
Yeah.
Tyres. Yeah. That is what I was going to mention. Right at the end, we saw you so close to that 80% bubble. Was there any worry about hitting that potential puncture territory?
Well, my engineer was telling me throughout my hard stint, as long as I keep to a certain percentage per lap, you know, I'd be okay. At the beginning of my hard stint, I was pushing slightly, obviously, to try and get that out lap, or, you know, couple laps away and build that gap, which obviously proved to be good at the end. And then after those laps, it was just management from there. And I think it was just a mixture of, trying to get that gap and also get the perfect percentage of tyre wear somehow. It was a close one, but if I would have punctured, it would have been like at the last second. So I don't think it would have happened. It would have probably taken me another lap to have had to have a puncture. So yeah, a good call, good lap. Definitely shouldn't have pitted the lap before, which we didn't, so that's good. And yeah, excited. Well, not excited for the next one actually, but I'll just say I'm excited for the next one.
Absolutely. Fantastic race, Emma. And once again, it's good to always speak to you after a Grand Prix. We head to Madrid, and we look forward to hopefully seeing you back in the commentary box there as well.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Emma Clay, everybody. P1 for the second time this season, taking victory at the circuit de Barcelona Catalunya. We head from one driver that has got a race win to, I believe, a second driver that has got a race win as well, as I try and find them on my lovely little button press machine here. I can't find them. It is going to be Catherine Thielking. An absolute fantastic and stellar drive from herself. But Catherine, before we get into the race, I want to talk about qualifying. 1,000th of a second in it there. So close to pole position.
Oh my god, I was a little frustrated when I saw the time was like 1,000th off. I was like, ugh. And then I couldn't go any faster on that second lap, or on that third lap, sorry. So I was a bit gutted, but it is what it is.
Absolutely. You took race lead as well for a little bit of time, and obviously Emma got the lead back after that undercut. Was that something you anticipated coming? Was it always your plan to stop on lap 15, or was that something that maybe caught you by a bit of surprise?
Yeah, it kind of caught me by surprise when Emma and Alexis both boxed on lap 14. I was aiming to go to lap 16 on my mediums, but I think the undercut worked a lot better, and the tires were really falling off in that first stint because of the lockups and battling and whatnot. So yeah.
Absolutely. Calm. I'll hand some questioning over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Kettles. Hello, Catherine. Well done. Good job. P2. Sorry, TK. P2 at the Spanish Grand Prix. Really good job. First thing from me is, I think you kind of answered the question for me already in terms of strategy, but it seemed like while a lot of people went for the undercut, you more so went for managing a lot in the first stint and then having we know Barcelona is an extremely high tyre wear track, but you went for that opportunity to be able to use the tyres every single time, 100% of the time.
Yeah, I was trying to just maximize that first stint as much as possible, especially when Emma and Alex boxed that lap early. Yeah, I was just pushing to the limit, and then on my hard stint, I was trying to manage the best I can with the battery. It was kind of holding me back a little bit, and kind of with no low-speed corners here at Spain, it's kind of difficult to recharge that battery, but I did the best I could, and Emma was just a little too quick for me today.
Sure, and I think we'll roll on from Barcelona, but I think as like a general overview of this season so far, we've been to 4 racetracks, 4 with varying characteristics, whether that's battery management or street circuits, whatever it might be. But I'm curious to know, in comparison to F1 25, has your preference of track changed as you've gone to the 2026 cars?
I think it definitely has. There's a lot of tracks on the past game where I just didn't like driving at all. Just because on the last cars it felt like driving a boat, honestly, through the low speed corners. But this year it definitely, with the slightly lighter cars, it feels like I can get more acrobatic in the low speed corners. It feels a little bit better. So tracks like Imola in Canada, those tracks I usually struggle with, especially with track limits. But I found that I've kind of come to enjoy those tracks on this new game.
That's really good to know. No further questions from me.
Lovely. It's Catherine. It's always a pleasure speaking to you. And again, congratulations on some fantastic points out in Barcelona. We look forward to seeing you next week in Madrid.
Yeah, can't wait to race next week. See you guys later.
See you later.
This was a lot of fun today.
Fantastic. Good news. Best thing we've heard all day. Catherine Thielking, everybody. Your P2 from this afternoon's race. And we go from P2 over to P3, as the natural progression would suggest. We're going to have a chat with Alexis Mason, who, of course, qualified fourth, was the only one in the top three to have changed positions from where they once started. But Alexis, following the same strategy as Emma there through the race, pitted on lap 14. What happened right at the end? Was there an issue that meant you couldn't keep up? You finished about 12 seconds off the back of Emma at the end, I think.
So I was pushing and flicking, admittedly, way too early in the stint. So going, I think it was 8 laps to go, my front left was on 55%, which means I burnt 55% in 10 laps, which was reaching 110% by the end of the race. So I had to completely back off in order to make it to the end. So
just to put into clarity here,
I was slow.
Lee, who was going for the two-stop strategy, you said, what was it, 10 laps, 55%, and you were trying to make the one-stop work. Lee did the exact same thing, 10 laps, 60% wear, but they were committed to the two-stop the entire time. Alexis, you were burning through those tyres like there's no tomorrow.
We could maybe cook a fried egg on it now.
Probably.
Because they were burning.
I've got no further questions, Carl. I'll hand it straight over to you here.
Medium rare Pirelli tyre. Who knows? You heard it here first. Congratulations on the podium, Alexis. Very well done. I appreciate the honesty as well. First thing is we're going from Barcelona to somewhere that's completely different in Madrid. How are you feeling for that?
Excited. I'm genuinely excited for this race.
Interesting.
I was honestly dreading Madrid until they fixed the curbs in the chicane, because, quite frankly, I'm not a big fan of corner cutting, and essentially that's what you're doing before the patch. That patch has added curbs, making it slower, making it so you don't have to intentionally cut corners.
Fair.
Damn, first driver we've ever heard in W1 history saying the Madrid is going to be fantastic. You heard it here first. You're just going to have to tune in.
Carl, any more questions?
I'm trying to think if there is any more, to be honest with you. I think otherwise, going forwards into these next few rounds, you've got circuits with very different dynamics, but it's clear to see that you have the pace to not just be on pole, but potentially win a race this season. I have no doubt about that. So what do you think are the next steps for you personally, Alexis, to take you to that next level, to properly challenge the likes of Emma Clay and Catherine Thielking?
Practice a lot more, because
Very fair.
a lot of my practice for this track was quali, because quite honestly I was a bit disappointed with Imola. I knew I could have been way faster in that quali session and potentially get pole, so I focused on my quali and just wasn't able to put a lap together today, which was unfortunately P4, but I lost so much time, and on one of my laps I ended up beaching the car.
Unlucky. I think that's all I can say about that one. Unlucky. But who knows, as we head to Madrid, there's no beaches for you to get stuck on this time. Maybe just a few walls that are in rather inconvenient places. But Alexis, once again, congratulations. P3 for the second time in a row, I believe, after securing P3 in Imola. It's a pleasure, as always, to speak to you. I'm sure we'll see you out in Madrid as well.
Bye.
Goodbye. Alexis Mason, there we go, P3. And we got a chance to speak to all three of our podium sitters, which is always lovely and always a very rare treat that sometimes not every place gets. If you know, you know. But Carl, it's always a pleasure to share the commentary box with you. I'm just going to say that before we go through our closing spiel, because I think we should go look at the calendar one more time for the final 6 races. But apart from that, it's been a pleasure.
Oh, the pleasure is all mine, my friend. It truly is, and it is so good to be back, honestly. There is going to be, we're nearly through the first half of the season already, but you best believe it's going to hot up after the Madrid. We've done 1, 2, 3, and 4. Britain, Canada, Imola, Barcelona. Madrid is next week. I very much advise you tune in for Madrid, because it's going to be absolute anarchy. We've then got the American double treat of the United States and Las Vegas Grand Prix, and then another bit of a break, because as Miss Nutrix says, the drivers get the rest, but nobody asks, does the car ever have a rest? Well, luckily it will in this little late summer vacation, before we go to Miss Nutrix's home Grand Prix, coincidentally. The Netherlands, Zandvoort, followed by Mexico, and then, of course, the final round at the Jeddah Corniche Pasty Circuit. It's going to be fun. We're going to have a good time.
If the 60s were swinging, it'll be swinging in Saudi Arabia, I think will be the way to look at it as we close off the 10-race calendar. But Carl, if the people want to check you out a little bit more so on the interwebs, where can they find you?
Tell you where you can't find me, moseying my way marvellously to the mad ring. I don't like it. But where you will find me is at my name, Carl Paranik, all one word. If you type that in, you'll probably find me there. TK, where can they find you on an interweb?
I'll tell you where they can't find me, and that's smuggling suspicious sandwiches through the side alleys of Sheffield. Don't tell anybody. But where you can find me online is at _ they call me TK on pretty much every single social media. Go drop us a follow, both myself and Carl. It would be absolutely appreciated. If you're not following us on YouTube, drop a like and a subscribe. That always helps the channel out. If you're not following on Twitch, drop us a follow. And of course, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and every other social platform. You could probably think of Threads, I think, as well. We've got an account on. Go drop us a follow on there. It really does help us as we make the rest of the series. But after the battlegrounds of Barcelona, we head to the madness at Madrid. All next time in the W1 Sim series. Good night and God bless.
Just say run, and I will follow you anywhere. And you have my heart, even when I am not there. Just say run.